Love the cold starts on the X5. All right, so good morning, guys. Welcome back to another video. This is going to be a new series I'm starting. Just in addition to my car reviews, kind of fill the gap right now. And what this series, I might call it just, morning commute. I'll talk about some random stuff. I'll kind of vlog a little bit my drive to work. So right now I'm heading to work. I hate this water runoff. So you get your car clean and it's dirty because of that. I'm assuming some of the irrigation probably malfunctioning or something like that over the landscaping from the city. So I'm driving to the X5 today. I like driving the X5 mainly because right now it's limited traffic. It's fun to drive. I mean, I think all the cars are fun to drive. But this one especially, I like the view I have. It's elevated. It's quick. It's got a lot of features that I like. All right, so some things I wanted to talk about, and that's mainly some things I'm thinking about tweaking with the channel. You might have already seen my vlog where I'm vlogging, just my trip. I'm not the best. Like I said, this is my very first one. I was just thinking like, all right, I did the vlog with the trailer, which was kind of correlated with me going down to Laguna Seca, which was, people seem to like that one. So I thought, okay, maybe I show a different part of my life of what it's like, behind the scenes with me. Just, day-to-day traveling, like the delays and stuff. It was okay. Like you say, your first one is always like it's kind of rough starting off. But I'm eventually going to probably do a few more of those. Probably once this shelter in place, aka quarantine, is over with. Don't you hate when you drive and someone pulls out in front of you and they are driving slower than what you were driving? I find that aggravating. It's just like, if you're gonna go drive slow, then you should have waited. You should have waited until I passed you, or something like that. But also some things I'm doing with the channel. With the car reviews, I am decided to add a score. You watch some of these other reviewers, these other car reviewers, even just not even car reviews in general. Like I watch some of these airline trip reports and food reviews and restaurants. They always seem to give a score at the end. And I initially was thinking like, I'm not gonna be a copycat. I'm not gonna give a score. But then people ask me, "What'd you think of this car? What'd you think of that car you reviewed? What were your thoughts on this?" And then I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe I should give a score, because I could then kind of put that in the video. People won't really have to ask me or send me a message and ask me what my thoughts were or how I felt about certain things. I mean, I welcome those questions as well, but I think that doing that in the video would kind of help alleviate some of those and help maybe answer some people's questions about my opinions about some of the vehicles that I reviewed. So I didn't do it on the Volkswagen Atlas. I was, trying to keep the review short and condensed. But I did do it on my Camaro SS and Porsche Macan GTS review. So if you want to see what I did on that, check those videos out. But essentially what I'm doing is I am rating the car. What is that? Seatbelt. So annoying. We're gonna pause for 1 second. I don't know. I don't know why, but when my son gets out of the car, every time I drop him off in this car, he gets out. The seatbelt, I don't know what happens to it, but it makes this annoying vibration like every time. I'm gonna pull over real quick because I cannot handle this. All right, we're back. Didn't lose too much ground. It's a small adjustment I had to do with the seatbelt. Ooh, almost hit that bat or a bird, whatever that was. So I was initially behind that truck, so I'm back to where I was before. But the seatbelt's not vibrating anymore. So I don't know. I think when he gets out, my son gets out, I think he just kind of like keeps his right arm in there, kind of slides out of the car, and then it gets between the door and some other like plastic panel, so that driving on the road, if something bumps, it vibrated. But getting back, I had a squirrel moment. With the score, I want to rate different aspects of the car. I'm gonna take obviously the car's category and focus in consideration when I do that. So like I said, when I rate comfort and support, if it's a sports car, I'm gonna take that lateral support in consideration. But if it's not a sports car, if it's like a truck or a van or something like that, obviously those drivers aren't. I want to make sure the seat's comfortable, but I don't care about the lateral support, not because these guys aren't gonna be taking like any high speed turns or anything like that. So that part is going to be. He ran this red light, just completely ran it. That part's going to be left out, or I'll score it according to that category, if that makes sense. So when I score a car, just think of it based on that particular category. Let's see if we get a little on-ramp fun. There's a little more traffic than I thought it would be this morning, since we're all in a shelter in place. Oh. That semi was like coming up and these rocks. See, I don't like behind these trucks because I got these rocks and stuff. Still more rocks. And this is the reason why I don't like driving this car every day to work, because it gets beat up. Like when you drive your nice cars to work, they just nope, can't get over here, denied. More sand. Let me get around. Oh, goodness. I think it was that truck right there. So I think like, wow, why is there so much traffic out right now? This feels like a regular day. We're still in this like quarantine, but everybody's driving right now. And I know like these people aren't all essential, because when the first 2 weeks when this was in place, it was hardly anybody on the roads. And it was nice to try to work and just not have to deal with all this craziness. But now it just feels almost like a regular Monday morning. But yeah, I like driving this car to work. I love driving to work every day. But for number one reason is because the rocks. I don't know what it is about California roads, but there are a ton of rocks on these highways that I don't know if they just can't clean them very often. But if you look over here in this left side lane, there's all kinds of debris. And it seems like there's constant debris on the road. And I have a clear bra or a paint protection film on the front of this car. So it's been protecting the paint, but that film has been taking a beating. There are some parts where it's just nicked, and just you can tell where it has a few rocks that's kind of beat it for a little bit. If you're in a carpool lane, the carpool lane should be an advantage. It should be like, all right, you have multiple people in your car. You should. That should be the reason. But this guy here, he's just kind of cruising in it just because. I don't get it. I don't understand why people just get in the lane just because. If you're going to cruise, just stay in the regular lanes, the regular travel lanes. Stay in those. Let the people who are fast commuters, who have carpools, take advantage of it. But this Prius, and just chilling there, and yeah, this is a regular commute to me. I know I keep talking about this score, and I was in the middle of that, and I keep having these squirrel moments. But I can't help but getting distracted by everybody else driving. All right, since we got a moment, I'm going to score the car on the handling. How well does it handle the turns? How does it feel like when you take these turns? Like, what does it feel like? Does it feel like it was taking a lot? Is it leaning a lot? If it's a sports car, how does the steering feel? I rate the steering as far as the feedback you get from the steering wheel. And like I said, all these scores are subjective because it's my personal, but is what I would think an enthusiast would like. I'll rate the car's headlights, like say like the output of the light. How bright is it? I rate the vehicle's blind spot monitor, because I've tested multiple cars, and there are cars where the blind spot, it had a wider detection zone. It not only detect a car when in my blind spot, it could detect a car that was way back there. And the way it worked, it measured the speed differential between the car approaching and then my speed. And based on the speed differential, it would give me an alert. And that's so if I'm in the left lane cruising along, or the right lane cruising along, and it's my blind left lane, yeah, they're not in your blind spot yet, but they're also going a lot faster than you. So if you do a lane change, that lane change could be potential dangerous and cause the other car to brake or not cut them off by the time you actually initiate the lane change. Score the transmission. I want to see what the transmission is like. So, how responsive is it? When I put my foot to the floor in that car or truck or when I'm driving, I don't want it to gear hunt. I want it to respond and go right away. So it should be like, as you click it, it should be instantaneous. For example, if I wanted to rate the X5, I'll put it in sport mode, I'll downshift, and each of my downshift RPMs, they adjust. And this is pretty quick for a conventional automatic. And if I accelerate, and it shifts really quickly. I want to rate the sound system. I'm going to take consideration to the car optional equipment, but I'm going to rate the sound system. I don't have the measuring equipment like that YouTuber or that channel called Savage Geese. I mean, he can really like break it down to you. But I'm just going to tell you just as my listening ears of what it sounds good to me. I had the Bang & Olufsen in the Audi. And after that, it's hard for me to go back down. I've had cars with worse sound systems. I had a Mini Cooper with a bass sound system. That was like the worst of the worst. The sound system in the Civic is average. I would put it as an average. I'll give it like a 5 or something. This car, I will give it definitely a 8 or a 9 because it's really good. It's probably one of the best ones I've heard in the car. I mean, this is the Bang & Olufsen in this X5, but I can't imagine what is in the newer products now, the Bowers and Wilkins. That's a really good system. I think I'm going to rate the infotainment system too. I'm not sure yet how I'm going to do that. When you review the car, you're only with it temporarily, so it's easy to kind of be picky because you're only used to a certain thing. If you're used to a certain car and you get something different, it's going to be challenging at first. There's always going to be a learning curve. So I'm not sure if I want to ding it too bad. Don't make me go through a main screen to turn on my heated seat. That to me is aggravating, because if you're living in a colder climate, you always want to be able to hit that button, bam, like from the X5, I want to be like, okay, heated seat on, heated seat off. Not, oh boy, he's gonna cut in front of me. Don't cut in front of me, thank you. He's going like 40 miles an hour back there. I got so close to the line. He's coming over on me for what reason? So another thing I'm gonna rate is kickdown. Right now I'm on this bridge. I'm gonna see how quick it will respond. Like if I put my foot to the floor, I want it to respond. That's part of the transmission. And it goes pretty. And now it goes pretty quickly, and I like that. I like the fact that there's no hesitation, no lag. I try from various speeds. 60 miles an hour. I want to kick down 55, 50. Those kickdowns are vital because those are the speeds that you're going to be using it more often. 45, 50 miles an hour. So if you catch transmission at a wrong point, that's not the best scenario, because that's the speeds that you usually be traveling on the back road. You're stuck behind somebody on the back road and you're just going like 45 to 50 miles an hour, and you say, you're right, I want to pass them. You want that car to respond right away. You don't want to put your foot to the floor and wait 2-3 seconds, or what seemed like 2-3 seconds before the car downshifts and then accelerates. You want it to go quickly. So I take that. This is annoying when you're behind somebody and then they don't want to move. So you have two choices, either to pass them on the carpool lane, which is illegal for me because I'm only one person, or to pass them on the right, which is also dangerous because they'll also put in a blind spot, or I can just stay behind him all day long. But nobody's in front of this guy. Why is he cruising? He's not passing anybody. And people behind me are now passing behind him on the right as well, and he hasn't got the clue yet. Another thing I rate is cup holder, because everyone likes to drink a coffee or some type of drink in their car. You know, most people use their cars to travel. So travel, you want to grab a beverage. I can understand. You know, people take road trips in their cars. So I try to see, like, okay, what is the biggest drink? What can it hold? And I rate it based on the size of the cup holder and the location of the cup holder. So for this car, for example, the cup holders are here. But if I have a tall soft drink here in this cup holder, now it's kind of impeding some of the controls that I like to use. For example, the climate control, the heated seat, that is now interfering. It could be potentially interfering. It may or may not, because the cup holder is deep. So it may just sit just enough where it won't block this controls. But I have seen it where in certain cars it blocks, you have to reach around or move the drink out the way. That car will get potentially lose points because of that. Driving out here, compared to other states, you can't expect people to let you in. You can't leave your turn signal on and think that people are going to create a hole for you. They won't. If anything, that I notice people do, you leave your turn signal on, they make the hole smaller. They make it harder for you to change lanes. So you do it, you make your lane, indicate your turns, your lane change, indicate your intentions, and then you go. My favorite turns right here. Just do this. I like it. I love the handling on the X5. Oh man, it feels so great when you take these turns. Yeah, I like the X5. I highly recommend the X5 for anybody, if you like to drive. If you don't like to drive, then there's other cars out there for you. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this video. If you like it, please subscribe. Like I said, this is me trying something out different. I mean, I don't know how this is going to work out. I mean, I try to vlog, but you know, let's see how it goes. Just trying to cover a different aspect of my life. And like I said, this was just more to me. This particular video is just me talking. Thanks for watching.